Mswati lamahleke lomhla ehlelweni ndabeke ngikulethela yena mengameli wakhona lapha eBotswana lobekade angusihlalo wayelenhlangano yaka SADC ngesikhathi ke endlusa sona isihlalo salenhlangano kuyimbube yemhlaba ingosi Mswati wesithathu. Mengameli ke asenaba ke enkulumeni yakhe wabonga imbatho labayitholile nekwemukeleka eveni lakangwane waphinze futhi ke wadumisa emakhosi alelive ngekugcina emasiko lapho khona wadumisa ke umkhosi wemhlanga wembali. Angachitha isikhathi Mswati lamahleke kasivulile na mengameli welive laseBotswana ngesikhathi ke athula inqumo yakhe.
Your Majesty, King Mswati III of the Kingdom of Swaziland and members of the royal household, Your Excellency, Mr. Philippe Nyusi, President of the Republic of Mozambique and Chairperson of the SADC organ on politics, defense and security, Your Excellencies, Heads of State and Government, and Heads of Delegations, the Right Honourable Prime Minister of the Kingdom of Swaziland, the Honourable Deputy President of the Republic of South Africa, Your Excellency, Chairperson of the African Union Commission, Your Excellency, Dr. Tex, Executive Secretary of SADC, the Executive Secretary of the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, Chairman of the Council of Ministers, Honourable Ministers from the SADC region, Your Excellencies, Heads of Diplomatic Missions, SADC officials, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning to you all. Let me start from the outset on behalf of all of us to extend my condolences to our Executive Secretary, Dr. Tex, on the passing away of her mother recently. Now I would like to come to thank His Majesty most sincerely for the amazing spectacle that we witnessed yesterday, and that is the reed dance. It was one of the most colorful ceremonies in every sense of the word that I have ever witnessed, Your Majesty. You and your nation should be very proud of yourselves for that cultural extravaganza. It is not often that a president and his deputy would be out of their country at the same time, especially in the same foreign country. But when Cyril Ramaphosa heard that there was going to be a cultural event which involved hundreds and hundreds of young Swazi maidens, he said to President Zuma, on this occasion, you're not going alone. So don't think he's here for anything to do with SADC. Yesterday, as I was sitting next to President Zuma, I asked him whether the Zulu nation do anything similar, and he said to me that they do. So I wonder why, Your Excellencies, we have never been invited to South Africa. President Zuma has just wanted to keep them for himself. So we will have to talk to the king of the Zulus to invite us the next time. Anyway, this reed dance would be a good reason for every single summit of SADC in future to be held in Swaziland. However, I do intend to introduce it to Botswana. And maybe the rest of us in the region should do the same thing. In fact, we have a habit of coming out with so many protocols in SADC. One more protocol won't make any difference. So maybe we should introduce a protocol introducing the reed dance in all nations in the region. I feel very honored as I stand here this morning to deliver the keynote address on the occasion of the 36th Summit of Heads of State and Government of SADC. Allow me at the outset to pay tribute to the government and people of the Kingdom of Swaziland through you, Your Majesty, for the tremendous hospitality, the very warm welcome, and for the wonderful facilities that have been put at our disposal at this summit. This, Your Majesty, is no exaggeration, and I'm not trying to be diplomatic. When I say the facilities are excellent, I really mean they are. Even as we traveled from the airport along the highway to our residence and coming here today, the decorations that we saw alongside the road is second to none. And I'd really like to commend you and the people of your government. Swaziland, like the chairperson of the AU Commission, is also dear to my heart. I attended school here, also at Waterford Kamklaba, for 5 years. You will recall that the last ordinary summit held in Gaborone in August 2015 was convened under the theme, Accelerating Industrialization of SADC Economies Through Transformation of Natural Endowment and Improved Human Capital, whose objective was to bolster the SADC industrialization drive. It is encouraging to note that efforts towards the region's new process of industrialization continues to gain momentum, and the work on the preparation of the Industrialization Action Plan is at an advanced stage. I hope that with its adoption by Council at its next meeting in March 2017, the specific actions towards implementation of agreed interventions will accelerate industrialization in our region, as well as prosperity and welfare of all our people. During my tenure as chairman, I was concerned that the region continued to experience deteriorating access to water and energy supply, food insecurity, inherent poverty, and escalation of poaching and the illegal wildlife trade. The situation was further exacerbated by the severe drought and the El Nino effect during the last season, bringing about major hardships to our people, communities, and industrialists. It was against this background that I convened 3 key thematic workshops, which included high-level ministerial workshops on food security and poverty eradication, enhanced access to energy and water, and anti-poaching and the illegal trade in wildlife. The objectives of these workshops was to, first of all, raise awareness on the challenges the region is confronted with in these key thematic areas. Secondly, to establish the extent of the challenges and adverse impact on the SADC economic development agenda. Thirdly, to engage in a broad-based multi-stakeholder discourse in order to analyze and share lessons learned on these challenges. Fourthly, that we should devise strategies and proposals that the region could implement to address and mitigate challenges of food security, poverty, water and energy crisis, as well as the illegal trade in wildlife in the short, medium and long terms. And finally, to develop an action plan which the region would consider to adopt, roll out, and to periodically review as part of its program implementation. I'm pleased to advise you all that the report on the outcomes of these workshops has been presented to Council and will be presented to this summit for consideration. In relation to regional economic performance, available data provided mainly by member states indicate that the overall economic performance for the region in 2015 showed marginal growth. While external factors have largely contributed to the current unsatisfactory performance of the region, internally, many economies of the region remain undiversified, and as such, they are unable to absorb such shocks, including falling commodity prices. The fall in international oil prices and climate change factors, including drought and floods, have also affected economic performance of member states to a varying extent. The region's cereal demand and supply analysis shows that the region recorded an overall cereal deficit of 9.3 million tons for 2016-17 marketing year, and that only one country, Zambia, recorded a cereal surplus. Currently, about 40 million people in the region are food insecure. It is therefore critical that the region should rise to the occasion and institute the necessary mitigation and recovery measures. In light of the above, I wrote letters to all SADC heads of state and government on the declaration of the drought. I also launched a humanitarian appeal to close to $2.4 billion for the SADC region in July. And I'm confident that with the support of our partners, we can overcome this challenge. I'm also pleased to note that the region is united in coordinating the systems and institutional requirements for an effective importation and distribution program of food and non-food commodities. I therefore wish to call upon our international cooperating partners to continue to support SADC in this endeavor and to render the necessary humanitarian and material support to meet the requirements of the region. On the political, defense, and security cooperation side, the Republic of Seychelles, as we've just heard from the Executive Secretary, and the United Republic of Tanzania held successful elections since the last summit held in August 2015. And as you all know, we still await the outcome of the recently held elections in Zambia. May I therefore take this opportunity to congratulate the people of the Republic of Seychelles and President James Michel, the people of the United Republic of Tanzania and the President John Magufuli for the credible elections and their victories. Related to elections, I had the opportunity to open the Electoral Commission's Forum for SADC countries, whose mandate is to ensure the management of elections is improved. I'm encouraged by their mandate and their will to enhance democracy through the conduct of credible elections in the region. Whilst in the most part, the general elections in SADC countries were free and fair, there were, however, incidents of pre-election violence that even resulted in loss of life. Therefore, there's still need to build on tolerance in our political arena. In the same vein, elsewhere in the SADC region, we also recorded some unrest and anti-government protests about postponement of elections and others involving concerns about economic hardships. We also noted with great concern continuing hostilities in one or two countries by rebels. So we should, as SADC, take heed of some of these events as early warning of potential instability and take steps to offer our services in an attempt to ward off any deterioration of these situations. SADC has continued with mediation efforts in the Kingdom of Lesotho. I convened the Double Troika Summit twice in January and in June to assess progress made since the August 2015 summit in Gaborone, Botswana. A progress report will be presented to this summit meeting. I would like to take this opportunity to commend the Prime Minister of Lesotho for his leadership and commitment to the process, and to also thank the chairman of the organ, President Nyusi, for his sterling work during his period of mandate. In addition, SADC through the Republic of South Africa also hosted the Amani Africa 2 field training exercise between October and November 2015. This exercise brought together all regional economic communities and regional mechanisms contributed to the consolidation of Africa and SADC's capacity to conduct and deploy peace support operations. I wish to commend and thank all member states that contributed graciously and participated in this exercise. On the continental front, although the process of electing the new chairperson of the African Union was not concluded in July, we applaud the region for uniting around the candidature of Honorable Dr. Pelonomi Vincent Moitoi, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation of the Republic of Botswana. I wish to recognize everyone's continued support for our candidate until the next round of elections, which is set for January 2017, and to take this opportunity to thank the AU chairperson for her leading role in leading our continental organization. Let me, as I close, commend the Executive Secretary and the staff of the SADC, Secretariat for the good work that they did in coordinating and supporting the SADC Chair and the Chairman of the organ, in moving our agenda forward against a backdrop of many challenges they also faced, which include capacity and an ever-growing agenda. For me, it was a pleasure to work with Dr. Tex and her team, people who are very committed and dedicated to our organizations, and they always conducted themselves in a very professional manner. So too, I would like to thank the Chairman of the Council of Ministers and the Chairman of the officials. Let me express my gratitude on behalf of the government and people of Botswana for having been honored and trusted in leading this body for the last 12 months. In discharging our mandate, we were humbled by your overwhelming support, which made our task an easy one. As we hand over the baton to the Kingdom of Swaziland, I urge all our member states to accord Swaziland your usual and undoubted support. Moving forward, there is no doubt that collectively in implementation of our programs is the only option, as it brings a win-win situation to all of us, and that the vestiges of individuality can no longer further our interests. It is therefore my honor and privilege to officially declare this 36th Ordinary Summit of SADC Heads of State and Government officially open, and I shall now be taking the liberty to hand over the baton to His Majesty King Mswati III of the Kingdom of Swaziland, and I wish to take this opportunity to wish him all the very best. Thank you very much for your attention.
Congratulations, Your Majesty.
Yes, thank you very much. I would like now to move to the next aspect of the program, and indeed Would like to first invite our colleague just to tell us, and again, allow us to learn a bit more about the king. I don't know whether Msandi, you are here. You could just share us, just for a minute, a brief or two about His Majesty. You are welcome.
Let me start by reciting a poem and dedicate my poem to the heroes of SADC, lest we forget them and their good deeds. Let me recite my poem and salute the founding fathers of SADC. Yes, let me recite my poem. Indeed, there are many, but let me just name a few. I speak of Julius Nyerere of Tanzania. I speak of Chief Seretse Khama of Botswana. There are many, let me just name a few. Let me speak about the two living legends. Yes, let me speak of KK, Kenneth Kaunda of Zambia. Let me speak, yes, of a comrade president. He was born in Kutuma, Southern Rhodesia, now known to be Zimbabwe. I speak of comrade president Robert Gabriel Mugabe. Interestingly enough, as I was researching, I realized that Robert Mugabe and Kenneth Kaunda were both born in 1924. And also, both of their second names are found in the book of the Bible. Robert Gabriel Mugabe, Kenneth David Kaunda. Wolo wolo SADC, wolo wolo, wolo wolo SADC, wolo wolo. What a milestone. Excellent, brilliant, very good, marvelous. Wolo wolo SADC, wolo wolo. From Zimbabwe to Botswana, from Botswana to Swaziland. Wolo wolo SADC, wolo wolo, wolo wolo SADC, wolo wolo. Let me dedicate my praises to the son of Lobanza Njengemandi. Let me dedicate my praises to the son of Buzansem Kunelin Sentandlen and Indlovgazi Mshabalomang Deveza Kweshe. Let me dedicate my praises to the chairman of SADC. Let me dedicate my praises to the great lion, King Mswati III, Sloskulu. You are the living proof that kings are ordained by God to lead his people. Please confirm my confusion, because I think your birth must have been prophetic. You were seen by your forefathers and ancestors before you were born. Thus they named you Makosetive, which means king of all nations. And indeed today you are the king. Bayete, Wenwa Pagate, Sloskulu, indeed you are the king. I remember on your way to the United Nations, your plane landed at the Gambia for refueling. Just an hour before it landed, Gambia received so much rainfall to an extent that President Yaya personally reported to the airport. He demanded, he said, he want to shake hands with you. As he was shaking hands with you, he said, my king, the rainmaker, in Sherborne School in England, you demanded, you said you want to see Queen Elizabeth. As you're about to enter the gate of the Birmingham Palace, the gate vibrated and the soldiers shivered.
Your Excellency, President Seretse Khama, President of the Republic of Botswana and outgoing chairperson of SADC, Your Excellency Filipe Nyos, President of the Republic of Mozambique, the SADC organ on politics, the chairperson of the SADC organ on politics, defense and security cooperation, Your Excellencies, heads of state and government, Makoskati and first ladies, Your Royal Highnesses, the Prime Minister, the Vice President from the Republic of South Africa, Councillors, Chiefs, Chief Justice, Your Excellencies, Your Excellency Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, Chairperson of the African Union Commission, Your Excellency Lawrence Tax, Executive Secretary of SADC, Your Excellency Dr. Carlos Lopez, Executive Secretary of the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, Your Excellency, the Executive Secretary of COMESA, Ngwenya, the chairperson of SADC Council of Ministers and Ministers, heads of international and regional organizations, Your Excellencies, ambassadors, high commissioners, and members of the diplomatic corps, international cooperating partners, senior officials from the SADC member states and SADC Secretariat, the media, fraternity, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is an honor and a privilege for the Kingdom of Eswatini to be given this opportunity to host this 36th Summit of Heads of State and Government. As a country and a member of SADC, we commit ourselves to do our utmost best to make sure that during our tenure, we uplift SADC and enhance her efforts to overcome the challenges faced by member states. Allow me to take this opportunity to pay tribute to our outgoing chairperson, Lieutenant General Dr. Tseretse Khama, Ian Khama, President of the Republic of Botswana, for the exemplary manner in which he steered our organization during the last year. I'm sure you will all agree with me that he kept the trust on our agenda very high, and the progress we have made is inspiring for the region. I also wish to thank your good selves, all the SADC heads of state and government, for your unusual and unwavering support. Our theme this year is being held under the theme Resource Mobilization for Investment in Sustainable Energy Infrastructure for an Inclusive SADC Industrialization for the Prosperity of the region. This theme is derived out of the desire to see the numerous initiatives launched by SADC over the years becoming a reality for the benefit of our peoples. We have reached a juncture where, as member states, we need to show commitment to our objectives by contributing to a fund that would serve as start-up capital for our programs and projects in the various sectors. This fund can be used as collateral as we seek to raise funding from external sources to implement infrastructure projects in the region. During our tenure, we intend to focus our energies towards raising these funds, which we hope will not only come from member states, but also from our international partners. The lack of resources has also stalled the full attainment of the Sustainable Development Goals. We therefore have to speak in one voice to resource mobilization. They say a unified force is stronger than a unilateral force. SADC presents a unified force. So we hope we can strengthen our capabilities and speak as one family. There should be no room for failure, as our success will have a positive impact on our region and create a better future for our people. Your Excellencies, as heads of state and government, we should aim to develop the region into one that offers the world a conducive investment climate that is ready to host any investor in any country of his choice. We need to attract industries in research, education and training, tourism and finance, among others, which can provide the much needed job creation, especially for our youth. We do believe that the SADC has a lot to offer for investors, as we have a dynamic workforce that is committed to working hard for the benefit of the region. We need to have a well-coordinated system to create and enable infrastructure to promote a variety of projects that can contribute positively to our development. We also need an effective monitoring and evaluation mechanism to track progress on whether we are able to achieve set targets. We propose that at the end of this summit, we should set ourselves timeframes for our programs so that we are able to present milestones we have achieved during the next summit. These achievements should be comprehensive, with top priority being economic growth. The world is confronted by financial challenges with sluggish economic growth. This, therefore, has negative effects on our region, which hinders our development and slows our growth. We cannot afford to experience this every year because of the multiple programs we have to fund. Our task is to find solutions to these challenges. Your Excellencies, as the Kingdom of Eswatini, we recognize that investment in sustainable energy is a catalyst to the realization of the SADC industrialization agenda. Investment in energy will contribute towards increasing productive capabilities for a sustainable and inclusive industrialization. To this end, it is our view that we must continue to focus on the priorities espoused by the revised Regional Indicative Strategic Development Plan 2015-2020. The three core pillars of the strategy and the roadmap are industrialization, competition, and regional integration. As we gather here to put our collective minds towards finding solutions for the challenges we face as a region, we need to start thinking outside the box. Africans were not born to be poor. We are highly capable of becoming innovative and creating a first world status for our nations. We must, however, discard the tendency of failing to support one another. We are reminded of a Swazi man who approached King Sobhuza II with the dream of building a helicopter. The king was encouraged by his innovation and called him to present his project to the nation. Unfortunately, the helicopter flew only 5 kilometers. When it could not take off to fly back home, people laughed at the man and even questioned his state of mind. Naturally, he was discouraged. What we failed to realize was the innovation and creativity on display. All it needed was support to empower him. There are many such cases across Africa where we fail to support innovative and create people because we do not believe in them. However, if we adopt thought processes that encourage positive thinking, such as the Blue Ocean Strategy, SADC measures would realize tremendous results. Therefore, I urge you all that from this summit, let us use our exposure to well-developed countries to instill the belief in our fellow citizens that life in the first world countries was possible for all Africans. Your Excellencies, today we are confronted by drought, and yet most of our citizens depend largely on agriculture for a living. The drought has come at a great cost to our cattle and caused water rationing. If this could be prolonged, it would be even more disastrous for many people in the region. This will also cause severe food shortages. Agriculture also provides employment and contributes to our economies. We therefore have a huge challenge to address the effects of drought by improving our weather forecasting systems. I am glad to note that SADC has set up a center for signal detection to warn of impending drought and natural disasters. If our systems have shortcomings, we then need to strengthen this center to be more effective. This information, if provided early enough, could also prompt governments to build dams for harvesting water on time. Your Excellencies, the Kingdom of Eswatini wishes to dedicate the establishment of a SADC University of Transformation, which will be the next milestone in our journey, which started in 1990. The University for Transformation will deliver in educational and training terms using the technical vocational educational training model of delivery. This initiative will give new hope and opportunity to our youth and our women. The intention is to have the first intake of students prior to the 37th SADC Summit in 2017. The Swaziland government is offering scholarships for 300 students in the initial intake to be drawn from all 15 community members. Which is 20 students per member country. We warmly and wholeheartedly commend the SADC University of Transformation to you, and the Kingdom is asking for support for this imaginative initiative from all my fellow heads of state. Your Excellencies, may I also take this opportunity to thank the people of the Republic of Tanzania, Seychelles, and Zambia for the peaceful presidential and parliamentary elections. Even though the results for the Zambia elections have been put on hold due to court processes, we wish to encourage patience as well as acceptance of whatever ruling that may come from the courts. Your Excellencies, we look forward to fruitful deliberations and positive outcomes of this summit, which, when implemented, shall elevate the quality of lives and security of our people in the region. I thank you. May Almighty God bless us all.
At this moment in time, may all rise for the exit of His Majesty, their Excellencies, the First Spouses, the Queens, and also our Vice Presidents and Prime Ministers to exit the hall as we stand. Thank you very much for participating. Indeed, it was a pleasure to be your director of ceremonies this afternoon.
Everybody, that side. That side. Meet at that side. Meet at that side. Meet
This is the CPC.
Siapa yang nak kebanjong ni? Ya, just here. Now almost.
Ngasishaye silibeke lapho ke hlelo le diphuma ebukhosini Mswati lamahle sitawuqhubeka ke singumsakazo angaphandle siqhubeke sikulethele konke lobekade kwendeka kumhlangano weSADC sekungaba ngilo ke Mswati lamahle kuthatha lona lithuba ke khwalasela lona ingwenyama eMswati uma ithatha sona sihlalo senhlangano yayo ke iSADC sithi silibandla lemsakazo angaphandle sithi sikhutalwandle sithi bayethe wena waphakathi usale kahle.
Wena ngishoba lenkuzi kangwani ingani limnyama lesabeka wena Mswati lo ingoni emngonga kangani ingane lo wavusa kwethuka kwamagagula kadhokolwa ku labathe bahlala buhlala uhlalo kwaye kwethuka bakagamane bakamnisi nangunamanjolo umangelo nophakathi layelala langakhawula tati ngizamqolo noma linayo labatalo yathi liyawufuna kwangitshela ukuthi emalangeni jubala kusatha labisa eNgilandi esikolweni unelefa wena Mswati wase uba indlaluselwa wase uyayibamba impeniseli ngisho la kwasana ngayo mkhwase gijima ngubele yabhodla ngesha kwethlwandle kwatamatama livela Mswati timbi bataphuma kusakala tingoda cela emuzini lapha emthimba tati bona ingwenyama ehlale ehlula umbutho wena ngemkhombo wena ngakangwani ngani langa laphuma etsheni lapha kangosikati tingabi sathe ekhane safeni tagijima tawutekela bonini emakhaya inani banele baphuma bahlolwa ngetikhalate maguma makho setive ngonyana lemunya lapho setibuya imbunga umvemvakisi waselusaseni awuhlali phasi wesabathi intuli hlitole emhlophe ngeuhlula emanga emadodza mwawela usundu wekushe kwekuphephuka ematala wena ke msawa hilika hilulela ekhane safeni wena ke Mswati ngekubusa ubuyelele wena wabhuza lisemkhoneni lisetandleni kujuma kwakho Mswati kunyakathi seumhlaba ongane ingani kwathi kwabhoda esikwahlandle kulakamlumbi ingani kwathi mashala kansa aphuma moyitela nomashikizela kangwane nganashiya umbutho ukuhlakula inalo lengwena lapha esithene kulanqabane wayesofana emhlambi emagwalagwala wena Mswati ingani usulwa nendvodza esihlahleni kufa kondvodza kumntamo wona lo fluzu uthi kangwane emhlabeni nangengqingo njengenkomo izawusengwa wona sibhabaza kuyasa kangwane ingani umdumo unjengezulu emambala Mswati yababa mhlohlo babela izingomo zikagogo wakho ngoba uyazibona nangemkhondo kangwane ingane ziyandinda ngisho kuloluphondo lwengongoni kangwane esiqopholoti wona Mswati lo gabe abantu kangwane ingani bonjengamathanga waqhakaza ke Mswati zomnyama kulabaluthuli kwaba njengekuvuma kwenqwala uyimbuku ingonyama muhle ematholo ezinyathi ayethe unophakathi khula mlisa khula nzanzane elive bakwesabe bethi phekele bethi